everyone, my name is Michael Froschheiser and I'm so excited to play roleplay here at ALT. Anything goes. At the end of not last season, but the season before, I got to play Billy Crocker, Anything Goes. This was actually a show that I had been in previously when I was a little bit younger, and Billy Crocker was the dream role that I wanted to be. So whenever auditions came up for this role, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to be Billy Crocker, and auditioned and got it. The music from this is all Cole Porter music. So it's a lot of that classic music that you're used to hearing, and you were like, that sounds familiar, can't quite put a finger on it, but it's a Cole Porter song. I think everybody the whole time is like, oh yeah, I know that song, or oh yeah, that's a familiar song. And they just kind of interweave and intertwine it into the show itself. And it was so much fun. He just is a character that gets to do a bunch of different things, disguises, kind of that cat and mouse chase sequence, sings a lot of songs, lots of fun dances. One of my favorite songs to sing in the show was "The Lovely." It's just a really good classic song that most everybody knows. Another really fun one to sing, which has a lot of words and a lot of movement. Billy sings it with Reno in the show. "You're the Top," which is this over the top, no pun intended, song where some of the lyrics don't even necessarily make sense, but it's just fun and campy and corny, and singing it with Reno on stage, lots of fun. This was my favorite, perfect role that I've dreamed of for a long time. So, Billy Crocker, Anything Goes. Nick, who's afraid of Virginia Woolf? This play specifically was the first play I've ever done, ever, and it's still the only play I've ever done. Usually I'm the musical theater guy that likes to sing, kind of fake my way through dancing, but this role was really challenging, not only because it was a play, but also it's a 3-hour-long play. It's 4 characters. It deals with some pretty serious content. Luckily, under the direction of Stephen Crandall, I had a lot of coaching and a lot of encouragement and a lot of direction in how to kind of embody this character and really portray him on stage. On top of it all, I had never done an adventure space show, so this was my first play and first adventure space show, and we did it in the round. No escaping anybody in the audience. All sides of you were seen at all times, and there wasn't a lot of time that you were off stage. We also had to drink a lot in the show. It wasn't really alcohol, but we had to pretend like it was. So at all of the intermissions, which there were 2 of them, most of us were running off stage and fighting each other for the bathroom because we drank a lot. Yeah, most challenging role right here. Phil Davis, White Christmas. Ever since I could remember, White Christmas has been my all-time favorite Christmas movie. To finally be able to play Phil on stage, the Danny Kaye equivalent, was awesome. The music from it has been some of my favorite Christmas music ever. Singing all those holiday classics on stage while being able to be goofy and fun and play this character, surrounded by a beautiful set that reminds you of Christmas and costumes that remind you of Christmas. It just really, really got you in the holiday spirit and was so fun to sing. And a lot of the co-stars in that show as well, all the voices just kind of mixed really well and worked really well together. One of my favorite people, Bethany Fields, she was my Judy, and I love that. We were on stage together a lot. Anyways, this music was so much fun, and I loved every minute of it. Phil Davis, White Christmas. Trevor GRAYDEN, Thoroughly Modern Millie. So Trevor GRAYDEN in Thoroughly Modern Millie is the boss of Millie, this place that she's finally employed as a stenographer. He has this one part in the first act where he's basically interviewing Millie for this position, and he's testing her skills on how quickly she can type. So he's dictating a letter to her. He has this one part in the first act where he's basically interviewing Millie for this position, and he's testing her skills on how quickly she can type. So he's dictating a letter to her. This letter gets more and more ridiculous and faster, to the point where it's almost like unrecognizable, some of the words. You have to sing it so quick. So every night as we built faster and faster, and I got to that final part, I just took a deep breath and went for it. And I was like, the less I think about these words, the faster they're gonna come out. It was very nerve-wracking every night, but once I got that last little verse out, that fast verse, I could take a deep breath, and the rest of the show was just kind of smooth sailing from there. But that one moment every night until it happened, just a little bit more sweat pouring from my head, a little bit more nerves in the tummy. This one probably had my nerves the most with that one song, yeah. So Trevor GRAYDEN, Thoroughly Modern Millie. Willard, Footloose. Most everybody knows the story of Footloose. You know that Willard is the cowboy in the show that doesn't necessarily know how to dance, which isn't too far off from me in real life, except for the cowboy part. Willard is just kind of this over-the-top, goofy character that's not really the brightest. He makes friends with Bren, the lead in the show. They basically are trying to teach him how to dance in one big scene, one big number in the show, Let's Hear It for the Boy. I got to have a lot of fun with this character and this specific dance scene. It pushed me to the limits a lot physically. I even took gymnastics classes to try to learn how to do an aerial, which wasn't the most successful. Willard has this really great song, a whole big number with his kind of group of guys that he goes around with, and it's called Mama Says. And Willard has this very, very thick Southern accent. He sings this whole over-the-top thing about great advice that Mama has to give, except it's not that great. It's all this kind of, isn't that common sense kind of stuff, or wouldn't you not want to try that because that just sounds kind of stupid? He sings this whole number about it, and it is just kind of this show-stopping number, and with the guys harmonizing in the back, kind of barbershop style. Every night I couldn't wait to sing that song. He was just so much fun. I would play him again in a heartbeat, so. Willard, Footloose. Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Obviously, Joseph is kind of the focal point of this show, so that's probably why it makes me feel a little bit like a star. But the music from this show is amazing. The whole thing is sung, and it's kind of one of those shows where you get in your hands and you're like, oh, this is like in my sweet spot. I can sing it. I feel confident with it. In the show, there are a lot of kids in the kids ensemble. Which is awesome, by the way. They're all Academy kiddos, and they're the sweetest things ever. But sometimes they don't necessarily know the person's actual name, they just know the character's name. So I get a lot of, hey, Joseph, you're doing great. Oh, Joseph, you're awesome. And so I just learned to go with it. And one particular kiddo was like, oh, I don't know your name, I just know you as Joseph. I was like, it's okay, you can call me Joseph, it's fine. So that's probably one of the main reasons I feel like a star, is because these sweet little kids are so enamored with Joseph, not really Michael, but Joseph. They're just sweet, and they can make you feel like $1 million. So yeah, Joseph he's just such a great character, and I'm loving every part of it right now. So yeah, I kind of feel like a star. Jean-Michel, Le Cage aux Folles. This role I love with all my heart because this was the first show I ever did at ALT. This was my first time to be in a more professional setting with adults and real live orchestra, all these elements that you kind of have in high school theater but not really. And I was blown away at how professional ALT was stepping into this show. But this show is an amazing show. Jean-Michel's pretty much the more mute, tame character of the show. If you know the show, all the drag queens and all the performances are amazing and beautiful and spectacular, but this means so much to me because this is what kind of got me started again into acting and performing, but then also at ALT specifically. It was just a really, really fun character to play, especially dusting the cobwebs off of not being in a show for quite a while. I love ALT and I love every show that I've been in thus far, but this one just holds a special place because it's the very first one I could be in, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. So, Jean-Michel, Le Cajal Falls. Oh my goodness, I've had so much fun playing role play here at LT. Don't forget about the current show that I'm in right now. I'm playing Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. This is such a fun, spectacular show. This is the show that makes me feel like a star. Remember the kiddos and the ensemble. This is a big cast and a big show with lots of bright set pieces, costumes, energy, songs, dancing. Like, it has everything. So don't forget to get your tickets. The show runs until September 23rd, so call ALT, get your tickets, go online, reserve them, whatever you do best. But we'd love to see your face to come see this show and just have a spectacular time.